Hey guys, Jeff Marples here. I'm looking at properties in Russian Hill now. If you know Russian Hill, you probably love it. Uh, I'm a big fan of it. It's really on the leading edge of the northern side of the San Francisco, but it also sort of bridges two different neighborhoods. On one side, on the eastern side, you're very close to North Beach, all the restaurants, bars, everything that you could find over there on Columbus Street, which is fabulous, especially on date night. I mean, you can't really get much better. On the other side, on the western side, you have Polk Street. Also, within there, you have some shops, it feels more like a neighborhood shops along Hyde Street and where the cable cars run. I'm a big fan of Russian Hill. It's really kind of a mixed bag. You have all sorts of different properties over there. You have mid-century buildings like the one at 333 Green, which is the Eichler Summit, which we will talk about. You have the Fontana, which is a stock co-op that's really on the leading edge on the north side, right next to Ghirardelli Square. Great views over here. But you also have some buildings that are up there that are either 1920s, 1930s buildings. You have Victorians. It's really a mixed bag, guys. And it's a neighborhood that I think has a lot of personality, a lot of characteristics that are sort of indicative of saying, you want to be in a San Francisco neighborhood that feels like a neighborhood. It's a great location. So I just wanted to go through some of the listings that are currently on the market and show you just a couple different options that might be of interest to you. Let's start off with the Fontana. Now, this is a unit actually right next door to a client's unit of mine. It's a great building. This is a stock co-op, so it's not a condo, it's not a TIC, it is a stock cooperative. So in the application process, it's a little bit more rigorous. Escrows typically on a stock co-op, I'd say 60 days, maybe 45 days. Because you do need time to go through the process with the HOA, with the board really, and have all of your documents. You need letters of recommendation, and they're going to go through, your finances. They're going to do a lot to sort of vet the right client that's going to be in the building. Also to know that most stock co-ops, they're not going to really allow for income property. They don't want tenants in there. They want owner occupants, and that's really what I find over in the Fontana as well. Fontana, I think, has a little bit older demographic, but I think that's indicative on certain buildings within the city. People got into them originally, and they have sat in these units for years and years. But I wanted to show you the views of some of this, and we're talking about, look at the price here. This is a studio. Or actually, I believe it's one. Let's go back. It is a studio. Personally, I sold a unit that's right next door to it for a good amount less just a couple months ago. Same views, but let's take a look at it and see if they've done any upgrades to it. So you can see the water, you can see Alcatraz out there, you can see where the Dolphin Club is, and you can see sometimes swimmers going through there. You have views. Let's keep on going. Alcatraz. Let's go inside the unit. So clearly this unit compared to the one I sold earlier in the year, much different, because originally the kitchenette right here, which I sold in the other unit, I actually really like it. It's very Art Deco. I thought it was really cool. Original, and it was in very, very good condition. But clearly there's a price jump on this unit simply because of the upgraded kitchen. Now, this right here is probably a trundle bed. This is, a fold-down bed. So a lot of people use these as efficiencies, as weekend retreats, and this I think is perfect for that manner, where you don't need a lot of space. You want to have a place in the city, but you don't want to spend the big bucks. This is a great alternative. Great location. You're right next to Ghirardelli Square. You could do a lot of walking right along the waterfront. I really like the building. It is considered a mid-century modern. Look at the kitchen there. What that is really. I don't think that picture is supposed to be in there, to be frank with you, because look at the kitchen right there. That's the kitchenette. So I guarantee you that one picture that we saw, that wasn't supposed to be in there. I should talk to the listing agent about that. Another mid-century building that I really like, great views, it's the Eichler Summit. Now, I grew up in a mid-century modern, and I just love the clean lines, bar none. I think it's very, very clean, simple. It doesn't have any of the ornate character of an old Victorian. But look at the views over here. This unit's been on the market for a little bit of time. You can see that you're kind of blocked by this building of the Golden Gate Bridge, which would be right there. You have Alcatraz, Marin, Headlands, Tiburon. But this is going to have a lot of good light because you're going to have the north, but you also have the, as you can see here, you're on a corner. So you get the western exposure. So, your afternoons are going to be nice and bright in this unit. This is the coveted side of the building. The other side of the building that faces the city, I have seen some really, really good views in there. It really just depends on what you're looking for at the end of the day. Some people definitely prefer the city views just because at night it really is kind of romantic to see the city skyline. Let me just say, it's sexy. Okay, so that's the Eichler Summit. So clearly, it's a little bit older of a renovation. They've renovated it at some point. Could have been in the 80s, guys. So, I think these units are really nice in the sense that in a lot of the mid-centuries, even up on Nob Hill, where, if you wanted to renovate a unit, you could take down walls, and because the structure is such that a lot of the walls that are in between, like the living room and the kitchen, they're not supportive walls. And I've seen some amazing renovations, and here I believe they actually just redid the lobby there. That's the Eichler Summit. So it really is on that leading edge of San Francisco on the north end of that. Let's go through here, look at the prices here. I just want to flip through here. And you can see that there's all sorts of different things. You can see, hey, there's a stock cooperative 2S. That's the stock cooperative. That's the Fontana we just saw. Here's one on Green Street. It's a 2T. That's a TIC. My opinion of TICs are great. You have to do more due diligence, guys. So just make sure that if it's going to be able to condo convert, if it's in the process, if it's not, and the loan structure is going to be different. But don't discount TICs right off the bat, because I think you do have to do more due diligence on them before you could jump in. But, people in residential real estate, they love real estate. They love, they actually fall in love with the unit, right? It could be a condo, a TIC, or stock cooperative, whatever it may be. People get emotionally attached to them. And typically in a normal market, TICs are going to be priced a little bit less compared to a normal. But let's take a look at some of the other units. There's one other unit I wanted to show you. Here's that one on Green Street. So, their leading photograph is right up here. So look at the spot. You're in a location in the living room where you do have a lot of ornate detail, the archway windows. You have windows out here that kick out, and it's an older building, and these older buildings from the 30s, the stock cooperatives, they have a lot of class, but also, it's a historic, or it's an older building. So you do see things like covered radiators right there. So you're not going to get the forced air heat sometimes. Sometimes you're not going to get the gas, and for a gas range. It's all going to depend on the building, but you can see that there's a lot more character if that's what you're really looking for. You get something that, this has clearly been renovated, but really nicely done, and you got this classic top molding that's around the perimeter, plus the baseboard. So you get a lot more character with some of these older buildings. So look at this elevator. It's classic. So that's why I say, Russian Hill is really a mixed bag of property. Any part of that hillside is great real estate. I mean, I don't think you can go wrong, except if you're overpaying for real estate, guys. I mean, just don't overpay, please. Work with somebody like me that's going to hammer down those prices. or get you close, especially when you're competing with others. It makes it a little bit difficult. But I also think it just really depends on what people are looking for. When people come to me, most of the time they're looking at like 5 or 6 different neighborhoods, and here's a perfect example. You would say, oh, I'm looking at the north side. You look at Pacific Heights, you're looking at Cow Hollow, you'd be looking at Russian Hill, Nob Hill. Those 4 right there all sort of go together, and it's just a matter of finding a good mix for those clients. But I absolutely love Russian Hill. I think it's a fantastic location. The only gripe I would have to say is Lombard Street, which is just, filled with tourists at the top and the bottom, So, you do have to stay away from there. There is a really great complex at the very top of Lombard, but you just sort of have to know how to navigate around the traffic, especially in the summertime when, hordes of people are over there. That would be my downside, but everything else, from the views, from the neighborhood, from just the classic San Francisco neighborhood, I think it's definitely a keeper. And I think that if you're in the market and you don't really know San Francisco, you really should be exposed to the options in this neighborhood, depending on what you're looking for. It really depends on, your personal preference. But I could say if you're looking at some classic real estate in the northern side of the city, Russian Hill is just absolutely fantastic. So if you want a tour, if you want to take a look at some of the opportunities that are on the market, give me a call. I'd love to take a look and just talk to you about it. My number, 415-336-9695. It's Jeff Marples. I've been a broker for since for about 10 years, but I've been doing real estate for, close to 18 years. So I know my game and I know how to do it. So would love to talk to you and just talk about the different neighborhoods and what makes sense for you guys. And if you're selling, just give me a call. I do have great web presence. That's what I'm working on all the time. And I'd love to be able to talk to you about the selling of the real estate asset. Okay? Take care. Thank you so much.